Welcome back to the Atlanta Realtors Rundown. I'm your host, Manny Recinos, and proud member of Atlanta REALTORS Association and past president of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. I am so excited to be here today because we have our newly installed 97th president, Madam President Karen Hatcher. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Manny. Thank you for having me today. Super excited to record this podcast with you for our members and for our community. And Manny is our current vice chair for membership engagement here at ARA. And we are super excited to have him here in leadership. So thank you.
Thank you. And this is a historical moment for the Atlanta Realtors Association because you are our first female African-American president and CEO and head broker of Sovereign Realty and Management, which is the first American-owned brokerage, right?
It is to be president, to hold the office. So there's lots of me here at ARA, but yes, to hold the office. So super excited about being able to be representation for, women of color as well as people of color own real estate brokerages and boutique brokerages. So
absolutely.
Thanks.
We are so excited about that. Well, what I'd love to do is I want everyone to get to know you a little better. We've worked together and I want everyone to let's start at the beginning. So you are from Rochester, New York. Is that correct?
I am from Rochester, New York. Super cold up there near the Great Lakes. Yes, Lake Ontario.
Yeah.
But I came to Atlanta in 1998 to attend Clark Atlanta University, which is a historically black college and university, which we call an HBCU. Mm-hmm. And of course, like all of us, we got addicted. Any transplant that's still here, right? We get addicted to Atlanta. Atlanta is an incredible city and the state is a beautiful state. So I fell in love with Atlanta and stayed and got into, of course, I got a bachelor's degree in finance. Mm-hmm. And then I went out into corporate and I was managing restaurants for a while. And then I opened the IKEA store. I was like the fourth management hire. Wow. I opened the IKEA Atlanta store. It was such a fun time. We had to hire like 600 people. It was incredible. I was there for 7 years. And then I got into real estate during that time. I got my license in 2007. And then I went on to get my MBA. I started MBA school in 2010 and went through a 2-year cohort. And I got my MBA in real estate from Georgia State University in 2011. Yeah. And but I got licensed in 2007, became a member of ARA at that time. Mm-hmm. And I resigned from corporate in 2011, I think. Yes, yeah. 2011, in July. And I resigned from corporate and went into real estate full time. One of the best decisions ever. Yeah. It is being able to bet on yourself. Everyone, when I was resigning, everyone was like, why in the world would you get into real estate now? Because it's 2007, right? And they were like, real estate is down. Why would you get into real estate? But I'm in the investment space and I always saw the opportunity. I always knew Atlanta was going to be a world-class city. I knew that Atlanta was going to continue to grow. Of course, I had just finished my MBA in it where we did lots of studies on the growth of Atlanta from a real estate perspective. And I was like, I'm going into this full-time. All the way, and I'm so glad I did. I've met some of the most amazing people. I have achieved success beyond what I thought I could at this age, and I just feel like I'm just getting started. And it's been so long already, and I feel like I'm just getting started, but it's been awesome.
It's an amazing journey. I'm a transplant as well, and it's funny because now it's almost like the unicorn when you find someone that was born and raised in Atlanta. But I think one of the reasons that this city stands out is because if you're a transplant, you lived in some of these other places, right? You've seen what can be and how it develops, and you come to Atlanta and you see it actually happening in front of you.
Exactly.
I mean, I moved, but 16 years ago, and just the change from the skyscrapers and
Incredible.
All of that, it's amazing.
Right before your eyes.
Yeah, it's incredible. So you mentioned you got in 2007, right? Yeah. So you went through kind of the time. It wasn't the sales that it is today in 2020, 2021, 2022, right?
Exactly.
So how do you think that prepared you for your trajectory in real estate? I mean, coming in at kind of a point where you knew you had to work hard.
Yes, it definitely prepared me from a business perspective and being able to operate lean. Yeah. So when you start in the down, you've got to make the most of everything you have. Whether it's if you got this is your budget and this is what you have to spend, like this is it, right? Yeah. And you got to be creative. You're working like a crazy person, but you learn how to operate lean and not to spend your money wisely, make the right investments. And so I'd say that was probably the biggest learning lesson that has carried me throughout. So all throughout my career, it's always about business investments from a business perspective, from a real estate perspective. We even just bought our office last year. Like I found a distressed asset, bought it, renovated it, because that's just how, that's the real estate game, right? And that's how you learn to operate lean. And that applies to everything I do going forward.
That's amazing. So how do you think some of those lessons will apply towards your year now as president here? Obviously, you're about to take on, the association and lead us forward. How do you see that shaping up?
So as president of the Atlanta REALTORS Association, our job is to lead and advance our strategic plan through all of our memberships and committees that we have here. So last year was the first year of our current strategic plan, and past President Lippert really did a lot of the groundwork for the diversity portion of where we were missing the mark. We weren't hitting the numbers. The first part of the year, we took a look at our members' demographics, and we were trying to figure out who weren't we reaching and why aren't they engaged with us, especially in a city that is so diverse. So we wanted to ensure that we were taking the steps to meet the needs and ensure that we're a welcoming place and that everyone can connect to something here at ARA, because it's all about homeownership and real estate for all, right? Yeah. So once we figured that out and we knew where we were missing, we have our diversity council here. So anyone that's interested in getting involved in advancing our diversity and inclusion efforts here at ARA, I want to encourage you to join our diversity council. That's for our members. So now this year we've achieved a lot of the numbers. Last year we installed our most diverse slate of officers ever in the history of the association, which is huge because now we have our first Hispanic on the board of directors ever, which is huge, right? Because there is an audience for that. You were the past president of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, and I've been a member for years. And that's a whole segment, and we want to make sure that we're also providing education and collaborating and networking with them and learning that demographic. How do we reach that demographic? How can we collaborate? How can we work together? Because we're all out here working to advance the dream of homeownership. So it's important that we have everyone at the table so we can meet the needs of everyone,
Absolutely.
Right? So this year we're going to take diversity and we're trying to move it further along the line across the spectrum to inclusion. And so oftentimes people want to know what the difference is between diversity and inclusion. Mm-hmm. And, diversity is like being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance.
There you go.
Okay, diversity is numbers. That's saying, oh yes, we have X amount of percentage of one group of people. But inclusion is actually cultivating relationships. Yeah. That's the heart of it, right? We want to create an environment where everyone that is in the real estate industry that is a licensee feels welcomed, respected, reflected, and expected to be here.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely something to highlight. I want everyone who's listening to really think about that, because it is one thing to create a welcoming atmosphere. But once you're in the room, do you play a role? Do your opinions matter? And I know that is something that I have seen a big change in since I've been involved with ARA. And I see that definitely just growing and growing. So these initiatives are super exciting. Can we, as members, how can we get engaged? How can we share in your mission? How do you think we can do that?
So the first thing as members is to join a committee, right? All of our committees, diversity and inclusion is the golden thread in everything we do. So any committee you join, we want to make sure that we are representing all of our consumers. And for those that are listening, we always want to encourage you that are not realtors to work with a realtor. Realtors are involved and engaged on every level of homeownership, whether it relates to affordable housing, and that's part of the inclusion piece as well, right? Mm-hmm. Which we'll get into. We have realtors that represent all sectors of real estate, no matter if it's working with a developer, an investor, a luxury client, mover-uppers, empty nesters, condos, students, right? Some people want bachelor pads, right? We have realtors, affordable housing, down payment assistant. We have realtors that work in all of these sectors. And so we want to make sure that we're providing educational content to be like the home and repository of information in every single sector as it relates to real estate. And so if you work in any of those sectors, which of course if you're selling real estate you do, please join a committee where you can share your information, and you will also gain a lot of information as well through the collaborative and networking efforts of everyone on the committee.
Yeah. So from my experience with these organizations, right, NAREP in particular, which is the Hispanic organization we're talking about, I know that we have worked very hard to open up those seats, open up those doors, right? But now, like we said, we want to dance. So for us at NAREP, one of the big things now is advocacy and how we get out there and use that voice now. So can you tell us how that works with the Atlanta Realtors Association?
Awesome. Yes. So let's dance, right? That is it. That's the theme for the year. We're going to dance, right? Inclusion is being asked to dance, and we're all about dancing. Yeah. And advocacy is important. So first, that's the reason why we need to have representation at the table, because we need to know what your housing issues are. They are different. Every sector has different challenges, whether it's legislation, whether it's lending, but it all goes back to real estate. So we want to know what those issues are. We do have a governmental affairs committee where we talk about housing legislation. We also have an affordable housing committee where we're talking about VA loans, FHA loans, building advocacy for affordable loans or down payment assistance. Oftentimes, realtors don't have the education for that, and as a consumer, we want you to know all of the options that are available to you, right? Affordable housing is not, it's about an income threshold, and you'll be surprised. That income threshold, you wouldn't think that was affordable, right? We're talking in the 70s, in the 70s, like 70,000's worth of income, right? And so that's, to some people, a lot of money, but it's actually, you actually could qualify for down payment assistance. And what that means is that instead of deploying the majority of your savings account on a down payment, you can get down payment assistance because you meet those qualifications, and then you have even more money to furnish your home. So we just want to ensure that everyone that our realtors and our consumers, that the narrative and the word affordable housing is also not, it's more about workforce housing and ensuring that everyone takes advantage of the resources available to them so they can achieve their dream of home ownership and get the right sized home for their family.
That is totally on point. And you mentioned, the work that we do as agents, how important it is. Now, there's some behind the scene things that I think a lot of our members, and it took me a while to understand, are happening, and things that as an association, y'all are looking out for us, right? There's a word that gets thrown around, RPAC. I want to kind of talk about that real quick because it took me a while to understand exactly what that means. I'm going to give you the floor on that one.
No, that's such a good point because I as well, when I started out, I've been a member since 2007, but I didn't understand RPAC to the extent until I was in the Leadership Academy class. It's now Emerging Leaders at ARA, and I was in the 2014 class. And in February, there's Georgia Realtors does a Days at the Dome. And when there was this legislative day, and we all went down to the Dome, and that's where we talked about realtor issues. We talked to our senators, we talked to our congresspeople, we talked to our council members, and we talked about real estate issues. And basically, we're lobbying for protecting private property rights and realtor and industry benefits. And so that, for me, opened my eyes to RPAC. And then I was like, this is why I have to make this investment. Yep. It's not just about the transaction. It's about us even having the ability to transact, right? As the Atlanta Realtors Association and any realtor out here, consumers, when you work with realtors, our duty is to abide by a higher code of ethics. And then we pledge to promote, protect, and defend the real estate industry and private property rights. So that's the advocacy piece, and of course, education. But that's the advocacy piece, and that is huge. You'll be surprised the legislations that we have to fight every day, every year, right? Flood insurance, mortgage interest deductions from your taxes. Those things come up every year, and that investment that you make in RPAC allows us to fund candidates, fund politicians that are running for office that support housing legislation and support our initiatives, and also to advertise or lend education to or just advances and support to any of the politicians that support realtor initiatives. Those items are so important, and RPAC is the engine for that. So if you have not made your RPAC investment for the year, I'm going to ask you now to please go to atlantarealtors.com and make your RPAC investment. It is not a donation, it is an investment for your business. for you the future of you being able to conduct real estate in a way that is pro private property rights and pro realtor industry issues, make that investment today. Thank you.
It's so important. It really is. And also, the renewal is always my reminder for the donation.
Yeah,
so
that's a
keep
good
that
trick.
in mind. Yes, every time we renew. And you mentioned the Realtor Day at the Dome. Again, getting involved with these organizations, I see how important these opportunities are to actually get in front of our, congressmen, our members of the House of Representatives, all of it. We get in front of these people who are working for us, and we can tell them what our interests are, what our goals are. And as the association, I love to see that as well. And I did just sign up for that, which is a free event, by the way,
That's
part
right.
of our, where our dues are going. So if you can make that, I think that's always a great step there.
Yes, Days at the Dome is the second week in February. I think it's the 14th, 15th, 16th. So if you haven't registered for that, please register. It's free. It also speaks to inclusion. That's the second point of, the vision for this year as well is inclusion and part of our strategic plan. Inclusion in government and policy-related issues. As realtors, we need to be present on our HOA association meetings, at our neighborhood planning units. We are the closest to the community. It's us. Majority of the time, if it's a business or a rental property or a property sale transaction that you did, oftentimes as consumers, you most likely have gone through a realtor. So realtors are uniquely positioned in the fact that we understand consumers' wants and needs. We understand what the community wants. So if we are attending these meetings, we are engaged with our community, and then we come back and we bring this information back to ARA, back to our governmental affairs committees, back to our membership engagement, we are now ensuring that we have a seat at the table and then also inviting them to have a seat at ours.
How many times have we as, real estate employees, we're out here. How many times have our clients come to us and asked us for, a referral of a restaurant? I had a client who once had a windshield break and they called me. They're like, I know you know everyone. Can you? And guess what? The little trick here is always say yes. Get on the realtor groups on these socials. This is my little trick.
Bingo, listen in.
Yeah. You come on, you say, hey, listen, I need someone that does this. Trust me, we all know these people.
Yep.
It's just a matter of staying, like you said, connected with the community. And that's going to not just keep growing your presence, but also your business and your ability to be able to help all these, all these homeowners, all these businesses. And that's how we keep everything going here in Atlanta.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me, are there any other things we need to know about 2022, the year for Miss Karen Hatcher? Is there, some fun stuff that we should be looking forward to? I know we just came out of kind of the hiding of the pandemic, and as we start to slowly get out there, it sounds like we do have some of these events coming back. And what are you excited about?
I'm excited about our members. Yeah. I'm excited about our growth. I'm excited about our city. Atlanta, at Atlanta REALTORS Association, we are the largest local realtor association in the state. Mm-hmm. We also are extremely diverse, and we finally have so many people at the table, so we actually know what's going on and can find ways to help. I'm excited about our membership, the committee initiatives. We're engaging in technology. Our city is growing rapidly, right? We have a housing crisis. The real estate industry is hot. Everybody wants to move here, and they are moving here. We're becoming the tech capital of the South. It's incredible. Yeah. The growth is there. The potential is there. So I'm excited about real estate and what it means for our city, what it means for our economic growth, what it means for us as realtors, as housing diversity in housing stock and inventory, and all of that changes as we grow as a city, because we have to house all these people that are moving here. So they're coming, right?
Oh, they are.
So I'm excited about that. You mentioned earlier in the podcast about seeing the city change, right? And you can drive all over the city and still see flat parking lots where there's nothing there. And that all of that is being developed, right? Coming. It's incredible. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about our partnerships with organizations like you. I'm glad we have all these leaders like you at the table. You guys are the future of ARA and the future of where we're going and our influence within the community. So I'm excited about all these events. Our next event actually is the Real Estate Summit. And that should be March 3rd, so hopefully we'll see you all there. And we want you to come to all of our events throughout the year. We want to see you. If it's an educational event, it will be hybrid. We'll always have a hybrid option going forward, given the pandemic state that we're in. But if you can come in person, we'd love to see you in person. That's where that connection is made. And come do what makes you feel comfortable, right? If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. We do have to always abide by whatever city legislations that are in place or regulations from the CDC that come out, but we want to get those in-person connections. We are being conscious about trying to find venues where we can have airflow and just a more open space, so we're not in tight venues. But I want to encourage you to come out. That is the beauty of what we do. That's where the connections are made. That's what we're all about. Networking is the core of our business and advancing our relationship. So hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. And I'm excited, things like the trade show, being able to get out there and link up with everyone, it's going to be amazing. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much on behalf of the organization and our members. I, for one, can say that I can't wait to see your year unfold. And we wish you all the best as you continue to move this organization forward.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Goodbye.